AITA for no longer being close to my daughter after she ignored her mother/my wife when she was very ill? My daughter is 19, still very young but old enough to know what she did wrong. 5 years ago, my wife, her biological mother, began to exhibit very strange behavior. She would say weird things, make impulsive decisions, and act strange. She and my daughter would clash often. Now my daughter always was a daddy's girl, but she was still close with her mother. I honestly thought my wife was going through a midlife crisis and dealing with the pressures of working while raising a teen, and we had a come to Jesus talk. About 6 months after the start of that behavior, my wife ended up in a really bad accident. When they were performing emergency surgery, they found a ball-sized tumor pressing her brain, which was the cause of her initial behavior. My wife ended up having to relearn everything from walking to talking. She was still reeling from the effects of the accident and the brain tumor and was mentally and physically disabled for a while. Our daughter refused to be seen in public with my wife. She hated the mess of the wheelchair and her mother's condition. She would also just ignore her mother and speak to me all the time, sometimes even about her. She saw my wife as a burden and would complain to people, to the point where the school called me. At the time I was just struggling to get by and I couldn't alienate my daughter. My wife needed a lot of care and my daughter was in a difficult stage of her life that I couldn't abandon her in. When my daughter went off to college, I was sad but also somehow relieved. My wife still needs a wheelchair sometimes and she has difficulty with some things, but she has honestly improved so much. It really solidified our love for each other and our belief in our marriage. My daughter is coming for summer break after exams. I don't know why, but I feel uncomfortable with her staying for this long. I feel like the sense of closeness I had with her evaporated when she treated her own mother callously. I don't know what to do. My wife is very excited to have our daughter come, but I don't want to see her heartbroken. I've tried getting over it and talking with my therapist, but I just can't feel emotionally close with my daughter and I'm sure she'll notice. AITA? Edit, I don't know where any of you assume about my wife are coming from. Her mother was never abusive in any way, including mentally or emotionally. When I said my wife did or said strange things, she had regressed in some ways to a child, which was exacerbated by the accident. For example, she would go on and on about a show she watched. She couldn't tell a story. She would spit out food if she didn't like it. My daughter would never have been put in an abusive situation.